Some men cut trees because it's a job. Some men chop trees for the challenges of speed and accuracy. Some men do both. The STIHL Timbersports Series with Kim Prince and Jerry McInnes. Brought to you by STIHL, the world's largest selling chainsaw. When you depend on tools, depend on STIHL.
And STIHL's Timber Sports Series continues. Welcome to Hayward, Wisconsin. Beautiful Hayward, Wisconsin, home of the Lumberjacks World's Championship. I'm Jerry McInnes, and before we get going on our events, we're going to have some fun. Going to show you a little example of some wood chopping. And if I was going to dunk a basketball, boy, I'd want Michael Jordan in here teaching me. If I was going to quarterback a football team, that'd have to be Joe Montana. Well, I'm going to chop some wood, so I've got the best in the world to help me with this too, in Mel Lentz and Roland Esslinger. And boys, this is only a half-hour show, so I guess we better get started at this. And you've given me a little bit to start with, and I'm just going to take off, and you jump in, okay?
Okay. You got to hit your line there a little. There you go.
Use plenty of slope. You don't want to hit too straight in.
Okay.
Is that better there?
There you go.
Yep.
You want to hit on the other side to lift your chip out of there. There you go.
I'm
watching
my toes.
That's it. A little more slope.
You're a bit straight in there. You want to start moving your body with your hit. So you want to hit on that side. You want to directly behind like that. There you go.
Okay, should I stay on this side?
That's for a couple hits. Then the other side now. Yeah.
That's it.
There you go.
Bottom, top, top, bottom.
Yeah, there's a pattern you take. Yeah, take your top and then top here.
Top it out.
Hit your top.
Make sure you leave enough to heel the axe out. That's it.
There you go. Now your bottom. Now.
Come back
same
over
on
here.
this side here, yeah.
Bottom. Oh, look at what a chunk.
Oh.
Now I'm smoking.
That's something like Roland would get out of his log there.
That looks like pretty good wood, Melvin.
Hope I get
Roland's sweating because he knows I've got his axe.
You want to hit your top there, Jerry.
I'm afraid of that top one.
Oh, it's all right. Your toes will grow back.
We didn't allot enough time for that project. Well, we find Hayward's Lumberjack Bowl completely full today, and the crowd's being entertained by Ron Hobart, who plays the part of Louie, an early lumberjack.
Is this the bathroom guy?
You know, years ago, lumberjacks used to get up in the middle of the night and go out to their little house in the woods, the outhouse.
Right.
They could find it easy. They just follow their nose and there it is, you know? To get back to the bunkhouse was hard, but they used to stick their head out and go, yo-ho! And somebody in the bunkhouse would hear it and they'd do it back. You know, that's the way they found their way back, and they were comfortable, they knew where they were. So now in the competition, when we do yo-ho, a lumberjack feels really good. He's ready to go.
And he knows where he's at.
That's right.
Okay, you want me to hit it 3 more times, right?
Yeah, you want to hit it there, there, and there. Then you can
Same
turn.
thing
You got
on
a
the
big
side?
front. The back
okay.
won't take that much to get off. That's a big front.
I've missed it.
You got to put them in good ones. Now your top. There you go. Now you can turn.
We'll take a breather for a second, Jerry, and we could put a couple
I think we need
hits.
the oxygen mask.
Yeah, we could put a
think.
couple
Look at
hits just to
little
show you the difference.
Woo! I tell you what, a lot of these events that you see during this show look really easy. These guys make them look easy. I'm here to tell you they're a little harder than you might imagine.
Somebody attend to that man while I introduce Cliff Hughes with some information on our wood for today.
Well, this is Wisconsin white pine. All the events are run in Wisconsin white pine. The only variation being the springboard poles, and that's red pine. But it's very difficult to get even white pine. The trees that are big enough to be suitable for the contest are very old, and we get a big variation in the texture of old trees. We get the wood basically from one area, which keeps it fairly even, but then even as experienced as some of us are in assessing the quality of the tree or the texture of the wood, we can still make mistakes, and you can look at the grain of the timber. Some say, oh, you should have big growth rings and the wood should be heavy, and we've proven that to be quite different. You can have tight growth rings in red, brown wood, and it still cuts softer than a lot of white wood. So it is quite difficult to prepare the wood for a show like this.
Now Jermer, he's my oldest boy. He's quiet like a mouse. He built himself an aeroplane out of a chicken house. He went to bed and dreamed all night how he did loop-de-loop. Next morning when he woke up, he went out and flew the coop. Oh, I just don't give a hoot. I just don't give a hoot. Oh, he got plenty of troubles, but I just don't give a hoot.
Oh, way to go, Louie, my man. You bring new meaning to the expression sing along. And the crowd is now going to turn their attention to a real fierce pole climbing heat that actually happened a little bit earlier today between Guy German, the world record holder, and former champ and local favorite Robert Shear. Now, these two competitors are equipped with climbing spurs and a steel core climbing rope. They're going to scale a 90-foot spar pole, ring the bell at the top, and return. And you must touch the pole every 15 feet while descending. Now, tell me the truth. Would you do this? Well, I don't know if I would. And Shear will, of all things, briefly hang on the bell at the top, giving Guy German a clear path to the bottom.
I was going for the bell, which is probably the most important part of any climb, you know, and as I went for it, I came up 4 inches short, and I went to flick for it, and I opened up because I knew I'd hit it. When I opened up, part of my rope must have got in the bolts of the carriage of the bell. It just hung me. So I had to get back on the tree and take the rope off and then come down. I was half a second out of the finals yesterday, and I figured that I still had good enough time because I got up there real fast that if I got out and made it to the ground floor that I could still be in the finals, but I'm less than half a second from doing that. So.
Oh, that was a toughie, and I happen to know that Robert really works hard towards this Hayward climb, so I know it's disappointing. Great climb by German, though, and he'll be back in the finals a little bit later. We're concentrating on a steel points event now, the one-man buck, and competing will be Mike Sullivan from Connecticut, Mel Lentz way out in Oregon, and Jim Colbert also from Connecticut. And let's let expert Cliff Hughes call this one for us. Back in New Zealand, Cliff does quite a bit of event announcing as well as competing.
Any one of these three men could break the record in this event. Mel Lentz on stand number 2. Jim Colbert deep into the wood very quickly. Mike Sullivan on 1 there, is on past halfway. Sullivan and Lentz look to be a bit in front here of Colbert. Sullivan almost done. There's Lentz, the big drive on the bottom. Just beating Mike Sullivan. Jim Colbert coming in a quick third.
Well, thank you, Cliff, for a little bit of that international flavor. We get back to him for one of our chopping events. Roland Esslinger up next from California. Gaston Dupree from Quebec. Way down on the end is Matt Bush from New York. And I have to really wonder now, are those official Lumberjack pants on Gaston there in the middle? Matt Bush has been to every competition that I've ever been to. He's a real good competitor. But all these sawyers, even our first heat, realized that Esslinger is about the best there is at the one-man buck and is almost unbeatable on a good day, and boy, he is certainly having a real good day today. Close to a record there, I'll bet you. Our first four finishers are going to be fairly close, though. Third and fourth are neck and neck, Matt Bush and Sullivan. 21.42 for Mel Lentz in second and 19.83 for Esslinger at the top. And say, let's have some fun now and watch some Jack and Jill sawing. Mel Lentz and Liz Sears being the first team, and watch and listen to Helper Esslinger, the motivator.
Plenty of pace. Come on. Come on. Keep it going. Keep it going. Come on. Come on. Go for the bottom. Go for the bottom.
Well, easy for you to say, Rollin. That was a good solo by Liz and Mel. And as long as we're into this, let's watch Penny and Rick Halverson, two of my favorite people. And they're going to set a new world record here, but again, I want you to listen to their helper. That man was in their face. Penny and Rick are from Wisconsin. They're like Matt Bush at every event, and they're coming in with that new record of 10.26.
Well, we weren't really expecting a record because we checked the block ahead of time. It's a bit firm. But we figured we could win, but the record's great. Just love it.
I just wanted to say that it's taken me 6 years, Rick and I, to get here. And this is the most elite group to make the top 6 that I've ever fought against in the 6 years. And I just respect everybody. But God, I'm so proud of this, and I love it. I love it.
Well, no rest for Halverson. He moves right over to the hot saw area. And along with Mel Lentz and Vermont's Eugene Villeneuve, we're going to find out who can take their modified chainsaw / motorcycle engine and make 3 cuts, a down, an up, and another down. Well, Villeneuve specializes with this hot saw and has taken this first heat. And isn't that about the loudest 10 seconds you've ever listened to? Okay, now the rules say 3 cuts within a specified area. Cut out and you're disqualified. Mel Lentz, who is going for some points here, gives us a perfect example of cutting out. He was disqualified and came up with no points. And Eugene, although he won the first heat, he touched the log as he lifted his saw for his first cut. He probably lost a half a second there. Other than that, he makes a perfect cut. What's that old saying? A hot knife cutting through butter. That's about exactly what that looks like, isn't it? Okay, new heat. And this one consists of Don Dolliver all the way from Vermont. Man, that's a long way to come. And Wisconsin's Russ Lemke. And how about the world record holder, Ron Johnson from Connecticut. And again, these gentlemen are competing against the clock, not necessarily each other. All the engines are started, and that's always a relief, I'm sure. And Ron Johnson's 8.7 record is probably in jeopardy here. You have to remember, these saws probably weigh 100 pounds. They're hard to handle. And again, we have a disqualification as Dolliver does not make a clean cut. Burning records up today. Look here, Rick Halverson in 4th place, Russ Lemke in 3rd, Eugene Villeneuve in 2nd, and in 1st place, Ron Johnson, new record, 8.40. Broke his old record of 8.74.
And not to say come in bum, but somebody but a logger turns his mind with his thumb.
Jerry McInnes back at one of my favorite places, Hayward, Wisconsin. Muskie capital of the world. Well, Lumberjack capital today. In our next timber sports event is the stock saw competition, and two of our finalists are, hey, that's Cliff Hughes against the very tough competitor Mike Sullivan. And differing from the hot saws, these saws are all equal. They're already running, and we're just looking for two cuts here. And we will let the judges decide who won that go-around. I'm glad I don't have to. Mike Sullivan's going to move over to the axe throw target now, and he's going to throw for some bonus points. And Mike will come up with a big 4. That's pretty good. Good throw considering there's no warm-up. You come right from your stock saw, pick up the axe, and make one throw. And our friend Cliff Hughes will settle for a 4 as well. Boy, he just barely caught the edge of that blue. New heat. And the closest to us is Gaston Dupre. And the other end of that log is Sheridan Doyle from Maine. And these boys and all of our competitors are using safety glasses, safety chaps. Do the same thing when you're in the woods with your chainsaw and follow all the manufacturer's guidelines. Gaston had the problem, didn't he, at the top of that log? He just couldn't get his second cut loose. Hope he has a little bit better luck with his axe throw. But he didn't. Came up with a 3. Tough day, Gaston. I'm still not convinced it's not your pants, old buddy. And this is the first look we've had today at Sheridan. And his axe throw, well, it'll probably give him a 0 because both tips of the axe have gone into the wood. I'm afraid that's a disqualification. So our stock saw finals, along with the axe throw bonus points, looks like this. Number 4, Sheridan Doyle. Just ahead of him, Gaston Dupree. Cliff Hughes in second. Mike Sullivan, a good day for Mike, is in first place in the stock saw event. Springboard time. And although Rick Halverson and Cliff's son John Hughes will be in these finals, I think everyone's going to be watching the battle between Mel Lentz and Mark Etchberry, and I think we'll get Cliff to call another one for us.
There they go into this tree. They're putting the bottom notch in. Red pine, the timber they're putting the boards in. Up goes Lentz. Hughes, Lentz, and Etchberry all on their first boards. Etchberry puts his axe up. In goes his second board. Lentz next. And Etchberry first into the log. He's got 3, 4 hits start on Mel Lentz in this log. Now you watch this man on stand 3, Mark Etchberry. Very experienced tree cutter. You'll notice now he's opening up the top of that block again. He decided to break his chip. Now this is very good thinking. If the wood's strong, you open a short chip, and it lets you get the chip out quickly, and then you just overhit the top. Mel Lentz and John Hughes opted to open the big wood. Up goes Rick Halverson on stand 4. This man over 300 pounds. Man, has he got a strong board. Look at the size of this guy. A big swing up there, but Etchberry's getting close to the changing point in that log. Lentz getting near the center of his. Etchberry, Lentz has turned first. You know, look at Melvin Lentz's board. It's sagging pretty badly in the bottom there. Etchberry's board very strong and flat. John Hughes on a good flat board. Good finish between these two. Who's going to get it? Etchberry shaking his, and there he goes. And probably the difference between these two men is that top board, Lentz's board, still sagging pretty badly. And there he goes for second. John Hughes and Rick Halverson fighting it out for third.
Boy, that's good information, Cliff. We really appreciate you. And this is Timber Sports' toughest event. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And completing the cut and winning is tough enough. But I really have to hand it to these competitors who hang in there when they know they've been beaten, at least on this go-around. Somebody might quit. I think I'd have to give it some thought. Not John Hughes and Rick Halverson, though. These men have been competing all day long. Please remember that. They've been chopping and sawing and moving from spot to spot. And at this time, you've had this feeling, I bet you. By this time, their muscles are on fire, and that's why I always have so much respect for them. I admire their stamina and their conditioning. Come on, John, make your turn here. Well, Etcheberry is always proud of a victory over Mel Lentz, isn't he?
This isn't my best event, but it's nearly my best event. And I think everybody knows that Melvin and I like to race one another. He brings out the best in me, I know, and I find it's a bit of a privilege to race him. And anytime you defeat Melvin in soft wood, you've got something to cheer about.
Well, we've got Springboard finals for you. Another good finish by Rick Halverson. Third place, John Hughes. Second place, Mel Lentz. First place, 1 minute, 35 seconds, Mark Etcheberry.
Here they go for the third ball. Black man. 20.5 time.
Guy German's time was 21.9, and our steel points today go to a tie for third place. Mark Etcheberry, Roland Esslinger, and Ron Johnson. Mel Lentz comes in second, and picking up the big points, Mike Sullivan.
I've been awful fortunate through the years to be able to cover several Lumberjack events, and every time I leave one, I leave with new respect for these competitors as athletes. I know they entertain, and they did entertain us here in Hayward, Wisconsin this weekend, but they are tremendous sportsmen. I'm glad you were with us this week. Well, we had a great time out here. I bet you we have just as big a time in Hopkinton, New Hampshire, which is our next STIHL Timbersports stop. See you then.